Hey, go ahead and smash those like buttons. We got to talk about what is needed for your altcoins to pump. I have found the chart that will give us the signal. Also, is this QE? Is this not QE? Is it stealth QE? What are the facts on the ground when it comes to quantitative easing and the Fed's balance sheet? What does this mean for Bitcoin? What does this mean for your altcoins? And finally, we have a major announcement from Elon Musk. And we're going to talk about that and what that means for altcoins in particular. Well, let's go ahead and start with the Bitcoin price action, everybody. Now, we have identified something pretty telling, and that was the 10 a.m. manipulation candle. And there's rumors this is manipulation for Wall Street to get cheaper Bitcoin. And we talked about this last week, and I promise you, I actually haven't looked at the 10 a.m. candle. We got them on 20-minute candles just so we can kind of see how things are moving initially. On Friday, stock market opened, we got the dump. And then on Monday, we got also a dump. Everybody started talking about it Monday afternoon. Jane Street's manipulating. So what happens the following 2 days? We get a 10 a.m. pump followed by a 10 a.m. pump. And I asked you yesterday, I said, let's make some predictions. Are we going to go up? Are we going to go down at the 10 a.m. candle? I predicted up. And if you typed in up, you are correct. So now I ask you again, what direction are we going to go at 10 a.m. today? It looks like it might be up again. And once again, we see a lot of manipulation with these 10-minute or these 20-minute candles right there specifically at 10 a.m. Now, when we zoom out, let me go ahead and hide some of this text here. When we zoom out, you can see Bitcoin just going into the normal ranges. When we zoom out, you'll see what range I'm talking. I mean, you can see it right here already. Let's go ahead and throw out our rectangle. I think I got it right here. Boom. So it looks like we're just kind of in a little bit of a pocket. If we go ahead and run this out, yeah, you see this was the area to pay attention to before. And this is also going to lead us to before this upside down head and shoulders, you're going to see the liquidity hit this range also. So this is just the important area for Bitcoin at the moment. And so right now the bulls and the bears trying to choose a direction, but I can't help but see a little bit of a head and shoulders. I haven't pointed this out just yet. So let's go ahead and drop, maybe make some slight predictions. So we got the left shoulder, we got the right head, and now we're trying to form the next shoulder. And this does give us a technical target. If we break down, this is quite bearish, everybody. You could actually say it's maybe even a little bit stronger than this move right here. Potential dump back down to $85,000, which would technically give us a slightly higher low. So at the end of the day, a dump to 85. If we can maintain a higher low, you can still say we are in a uptrend. CEO, am I the CEO of the channel of the business? No, that was strictly Josh's position. I'm just the guy that wears the suit that tries to give you the alpha and tries to change your life for the better as I'm changing mine. We didn't get any trades in from the Discord quant yesterday, but all those trades, I mean, we're just watching those. See a lot of posts from it. Take profit 1, take profit 2, take profit. I think Bitcoin Cash just hit the take profit less than 12 hours ago. Now let's look at the rest of the Bitcoin market, crypto market rather. Bitcoin's down 2%. ETH, woo, down 4.3%. BNB down almost 3%. Solana down 3.5%. Tron, a little bit of a green candle. And look at that Cardano dump. Cardano down 10% after feeling a little bit bullish over 48 hours with the night release. And then it looks like maybe people are, I don't know, maybe they're selling ADA for night, or maybe they're selling ADA for Bitcoin. Zcash with a little bit of a pump there. And gold, I wonder how silver is doing. I am interested in the silver prices. Maybe we'll check on that a little bit later. I did sell some of my silver options yesterday. I did execute, and I am going to buy a stock. I don't know if I'm going to do Circle or Tesla. Circle or Tesla. And maybe I'll even buy live if enough people are on one side. I'm 50-50 here. I'm on the fence. I'm not sure which way I am leaning here. Let's get into the main story. That's the QE. God, I just hate seeing Cardano as the top loser. I am so distracted at this point. ADA down 9.6%. But if you look at the weekly, like I said, it was a bullish 48-hour period. You can see it's fallen less for the week than Polkadot, Avalanche. Basically everything on this list until you see OKB in the green and Ondo at the 5.8%. So that's a tie. We do have Ondo news later on. We're going to talk about the Ondo news, which I promise you is bullish, but the chart is not reflecting that. Bondo is now down 5%. But we're going to talk about the chart that tells you altcoins will explode. I will front run it a little bit. I do want to go over some of the quantitative easing news, but it has to do with the others chart. Others chart is altcoins excluding the top 10. So it's basically a bellwether for altcoins here. And we're looking at others dominance overlaid with the Fed balance sheet. And when we see certain things happen with the others, crypto total market cap chart, something really starts to emerge that is a sign for altcoins. First, let me do this QE news, and then I'll come back to this chart and I'll tell you the trigger that is needed for your altcoins to explode. And I hope you guys are having a good Thursday. Today is Thursday. We're almost at Friday. It's almost the weekend time, folks. And I don't know if you were trying to trade yesterday, but Quant probably did a smart move, not trying to open any trades on an FOMC day. 30 days down 30%. I guess that was ADA. Why is chat so short? Because I'm so tall. I am in the 6'3" master height. I don't know how tall you guys are. We like the short kings, though. We do like the short kings. Nothing wrong with the short kings. How long does it take to, let's see. Okay, people talking about ICE over here, and they're not talking about Intercontinental Exchange. Let's see here. CEO, who's the new CEO? I believe TJ. My ADA short was the best I've had in a while. Good job on the short there. Dot target lower against Bitcoin. That is my target there. Yes, we did cover the MasterCard Chainlink news yesterday. Very, very big, enabling DeFi deposits. Huge for Chainlink. And we got Chainlink news as well today. Can you go a day without talking about Chainlink? They got to slow down what they're doing over there. And then we'll talk about the chart that will save your altcoins. The Fed said it will begin purchasing U.S. Treasury bills on the 12th and will purchase $40 billion worth in 30 days. So is this QE? Is it stealth QE? Is it not QE? Why are there so many mixed signals? It's because most people don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Excuse my language here, but I just see so much fake noise out there. So I want to give you the alpha. I want to give you the real assessment, the real breakdowns. We're going to start with Lynn Alden in the presser. He suggests 20 to 25 billion monthly balance sheet expansion is the new baseline, but they're doing 40 billion currently to deal with the liquidity issues to get ahead of April tax day liquidity drain. And so when taxes come, you think about the government as a business, they spend money all 364 days. You know, they're building highways, they're, taking tankers in South America. They're doing all types of things. They're hiring agents, you fill in whatever they're doing. They're spending money for congressional paychecks. But then there's one day out of the year, they get a lot of money. They get a whole lot of money, and that's going to be tax day. So they need to have the ample liquidity for tax day. So they're doing 40 billion until we get ample supply of cash on April tax day. So that's what we're seeing. 2025 is going to be the base case after taxes is what they're suggesting today. So here we go again. Here we go again. The Fed just announced that it will buy $40 billion in the next 30 days. If you're wondering where this puts us in the printing cycle, it is right here. And we're going to be looking at this in a little bit. That's going to be this area right here. I'll have to, wait a minute. Let's see, 2020. Oh, yeah, we're in the wrong decade. We're this period right here. So this is the period that we're going to be talking about in a little bit when we come back to this chart. This is where we're at in the printing cycle. I would say that's largely accurate here. Fed says they'll buy 40 billion of T-bills over the next 30 days. Fed also says this is not QE. But the bull posters are next. They're saying it is QE. Translation, QE is coming and it will be huge. We got another person saying, all right, this is where we're at this point in the cycle. We're at the same point that we're seeing right here. This point right here. We're going to come back to what it means for your altcoins. So everyone's confused about whether this is QE or not. So let's clear it up. Technically is, but extremely slow QE. When the Fed buys Treasury bills, it adds short-term liquidity into the system, which acts as slow QE. But real QE is when the Fed buys Treasury coupons instead. Now, I've gone into the difference between bills, notes. We have different time frames for these things. So let's just, I'll reiterate it. I didn't give you a visual last time, so I do want to give you a visual here. I looked at it. Here we go. T-bills, they're the short-term ones. Maturities of less than a year. Some nations have 2 years. Coupons, that's what he's talking about right there. Remember, he referenced coupons. Real QE is when the Fed buys Treasury coupons instead. What the heck does that mean? Coupons are for the longer time frames. So we have notes and we have bonds. Notes are going to be 2 to 10. It doesn't say here. I thought it did. No. Okay. Well, notes are going to be 2 to 10 years. Bonds are going to be 10 and larger. You're going to see 10. You're going to see 20. Trump wants 50. And so with the 1 year T-bill, you don't buy it for $100 and get $105. You buy it for $95 and you get $100. That is not the case with notes and bonds. You do buy it for $100, but then 10 years later, you get like 130. And so that's what he's saying. We're buying the short-term debt that's smaller, the notes, when we start buying the bonds, it's not going to be when we buy the bills, the T bills versus the T notes versus the T bonds. And sorry to get a little technical there, but it is an important distinction. And I don't think enough people are even talking about this, especially in crypto YouTube or crypto Twitter. I don't know. I think because when you start looking under the hood, you can't just say $1 million Bitcoin in a year. And that's kind of what they want to do. But it's a long-term liquidity injection. And what most people see is true quantitative easing. Also, 40 billion. When you look at the numbers, it is a little low during turbo QE. I mean, when we're saying turbo QE, we're saying this period right here. This is what's going to pump your altcoins when it starts to look like that. Turbo QE was 800 billion a month. We're coming in 5% of 800 billion with 40 billion. This is sadly not Lambo QE, more like my Uber is 7 minutes away QE. So is it QE? Yes, with an italicized and an asterisk and, parentheses and then a definition down at the bottom. But I would lean towards it is the Uber QE, it's not the Lambo QE. Now, Trader Main. Oh, this is a good just a good breakdown. I thought this isn't QE. He's saying it's not QE. He wants the 800 billion. People are saying, well, if you wait for confirmation, you're going to miss the meat of the move. Did he miss the meat? Did Trader Main miss the meat? If you're looking here, the red lines are the last 4 times, not the stealth QE or any of that crap, that kind of what we're seeing today. We're talking about the hundreds of billions to trillions of buying. Rates were lower at these periods too. Did you miss the meat of the move? You did not. This is the S&P 500, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, US 500 here. Did you miss the meat of the move? You missed a little bit of it, but then, you zoom out, everything was good. And did you miss the meat of the move? Yeah, sure. You didn't catch the exact bottom, but still things look good. And March 2020, probably easy to catch a bottom in that period right there. So that's what we're looking at, folks. So that is the breakdown. I think I got a couple more things here. They did announce 25 basis points, but then the real announcement happened is the T-bills. Again, not the notes, not the bonds. They're buying the bills. The bills. Just by knowing that difference makes you smarter than 99% of people when it comes to finances. So this is why there's a little bit of a headwind against super bull market here. For now, 40 billion a month. But here's what's more interesting. The buying will remain elevated for a few more months. Remember, tax season. They ended QT. Now they're providing liquidity. But they also said growth is expected in 2026. And here's the meat and potatoes. That means the ISM, aka the business cycle, will probably go over 50, which is one of the best altcoin signals. He also mentioned a rate hike's off the table, which means either a cut or a pause. He also talked about rising inflation, but that the labor market is weak. And there's some people, they got a little bit of a bad assessment, like, okay, are we saying stagflation here? He also hinted that interest rates in a neutral zone, which means there won't be any more cuts soon. The QE, as it will be buying short duration bonds or the T-bills. That was a bit hawkish due to rate pause hike here. Now, here's just a quick, I just want to read 2 blurbs from the Wall Street Journal. This is from this morning. The decision drew 3 dissents, not dissent, 2 from officials who opposed any cut. And then there's a Trump crony who wanted the large reduction. He wanted the 50 basis point cut there. Now, you can see it right here. There were some officials who disagreed with some of the writings, but not the official vote. There's the Trump ally that wants the 50 basis point cut. So there's several suggesting, like, I don't even know if we should cut 25. But then when it came down to vote, they voted in line here. Now, Trump immediately voiced his displeasure that the cut wasn't bigger. I'm looking for somebody that will be honest with interest rate cuts. He said ahead of his first formal interview with the candidate to succeed Powell, whose term ends in May. Our rate should be much lower, he is saying. And then they just have a bunch of graphs and charts. And here we go. Trump has already tried to remove Lisa Cook, federal governor nominated by Joe Biden, who has successfully challenged her firing for now. Supreme Court set to hear arguments for her case in January. Trump on Tuesday raised the far-fetched possibility of removing other Biden-nominated governors over how their nominations were signed. Of course, we're talking about the auto pen. The efforts in recent months to... This is the example I want to share here. Trump's efforts in recent months to challenge institutional norms regarding the Fed are like the raptors in the first Jurassic Park movie testing the fences to see where the electricity is weak. They're trying different avenues. The moat seems to have held up so far. I'm not saying it will forever. So they're literally saying Trump And his pro-cutting allies, they're like the Raptors in Jurassic Park. They're coming for the rate cuts. That's an interesting analogy. I just wanted to share that one. Very, very descriptive, and it makes you think, all right, man, some scary hombres over there. Scary, scary hombres. What does it mean for Bitcoin? Then we're going to go into these charts here. What does this mean for Bitcoin? So they slashed 25 basis points. Mixed comments from Jerome Powell will likely quell a Bitcoin price rally until rate cutting cycle resumes in 2026. Low interest rates fuel risk on assets. Bears repeating, such as Bitcoin. But only 24% of traders expect a rate cut at the next meeting in January 26. So did we get a reduction in January's odds off Jerome Powell's remarks? Yes. Yes, we did. Earlier in the week, no change. Down into the 60s, 65%. No change now, 82%. 25 basis point cut. We had 30% odds earlier in the week. 1 in 3 chance we're going to get basis point cuts. And now we're down to 18%, less than one. Now 1 in 6 odds. We went from 1 in 3 to 1 in 6 odds. Not the best odds that we are going to see rate cuts. This is putting a little bit of pressure on Bitcoin. Now let's get into talk about, which is the charts here. This was kind of funny. Conditions are cooling and inflation remains somewhat elevated, as Powell's quote. I think this is fake, but how do you say stagflation without saying stagflation? Conditions in the labor market are cooling and inflation remains somewhat elevated. He honestly has probably said the exact same thing before, but let's get into the chart that matters. Fed balance sheet with others dominance. I promise you, I don't want to promise. I almost guarantee I will sell on my Cardano, okay, if this is not true. I almost assure you with utmost certainty, nobody else is going to show you this chart. You're only going to see this chart on Discover Crypto. So smash that like button. You like it when DZ puts on that little accountant hat, folks. Big. I'm a big guy for you. There's a old reference there. All right, let's look at the Fed balance sheet. So maybe I should change the color here. That would make sense. Okay, let me do it up here. They're hiding below my screen. Settings. Change this. What color should the Fed be? Red, right? Red for Fed. That's what I said. Right said Fred said, when you take off your shirt with holes, make it red. All right, so the Fed balance sheet is this red line. Others dominance is the blue line. So what is others dominance? All the altcoins outside the top 10, what percentage of the entire crypto market that they make. The higher the percentage obviously means it's good for your altcoins, bad for Bitcoin, relatively speaking. And so let's go back to the beginning here. You can see we didn't really have others, XRP comes out. We got crap like Neo and stupid shit like that. But all right, so boom, this is the 2019 cycle. If you will look, altcoins kind of front ran this news slightly. I will say slightly here. Then if you look when the balance sheet contracted, or I'm sorry, when they went to the 800 billion surplus, altcoins actually did correct. This was the Bitcoin reckoning. It's going to be January 2021. It's like, all right, altcoins are getting a little too bit heated here. Really, you could say this is Elon Musk adding Tesla to the balance sheet in December of 2020, which is right here. And then that ended up leading to basically the bottom there. So if you look, this is where we're at. Altcoins started to pump. Now you can say, all right, well, the real meat and potato moves, altcoins took a long time, 300 days. Or you can look at it a different way. That's just a slight correction. Altcoins almost front ran it by, I think, a couple of weeks here, 28 days. So front ran it by 3 or 4 weeks. Where are we at today? What's the state of the market today? You'll see, all right, well, it looks like we're finding the bottom. So where's the alpha here, DZ? Well, you got to go from others dominance relative to the Fed balance sheet to others dominance as the entirety of its market cap here. Let me go to regular. So this is the entire market cap of all altcoins outside of the top 10. You see it's, very, very low. So here is the reverse signal. This is the chart. No one else is going to show you here. When you look at others and you look at weekly bull divs, this tells us alt season's about to start every single time. And we're going to go from 2015, and then we're going to go 10 years forward, and we're going to look at 2025. Answer the question, is alt season coming or not, DZ? What the fuck is happening to my altcoin bags? All right, so you can see right here. I'll go ahead and stretch the RSI a little bit. You can see a very clean bull div on the weekly. And then look what happened next to the altcoins. Huge rally. You're not even prepared for how big this is. That's a 16x, 17x, 1600% pump for your altcoins outside of the top 10. Very bullish for altcoins. Let's go forward here. Let's go to the next bottom of altcoins. We're going to hit the 2018, 2019 time period here. Boom, we find a little bit of a bottom, 18. Find the true bottom, 2019. And what do we have yet again? We have another bull div on the weekly. And then this is March 2020. So we're going to probably say this is a little bit of an outlier. You know what happened right there. I don't want to say it because I don't want to get shadow banned by the YouTube overlords. Smash that like button if you want to help us, though. But let's just assume, this isn't such a large wick down. This is basically the bottom for altcoins. They would go on a huge, huge rally. Once again, you're not even really prepared for this move. That was a 16x before. I'm probably not. That's a 35x. 35x. You put in $3, you walk away with 100. Huge, because again, we're measuring market cap here. Now I know there's new coins and yada yada, but just quick assessment. Now we're in 22. What do we see? We see another weekly bull div. We're getting close to 2025. What does this mean? All right, let's move forward. Well, now we got a little bit of a trend line forming. You see, we came down, we tested it here. This is August 24. That was the 4th of July crash, the 4th of August crash right there. And then we have this crash right here. This is going to be the tariff capitulation, the tariff bottom, if you will. Like, you tear your bottom when you get rid of the soda can. And then you get to where we're at right here. We do not have a bull div on the weekly. But do you want some hopium? Smash the like button if you do want some hopiums. I want to see these likes really start to skyrocket here, folks. You can go into the daily. You can go into the 2-day. You can go into the 3-day, but you can't go into the 5-day. But we'll start with the 5-day. Because again, we want to see a bull div on the weekly. So to see this, we need to start going down the time frames here. So we're going to go from 7 days to 5 days. On 5 days, you could say it's reversing. So you do see a reversal on 5 days, but you do not see a bull div. What about 3 days? Ooh, baby. Now it's starting. I didn't look at 4 days. I'm not going to look at 4 days here, but now we have the bull divs on the 3 days. So we don't have it on the 7-day. We don't have it on the 5-day, but we are seeing it on the 3-day. We are seeing it on the 2-day. We're seeing it on the green day. There's the 2-day. There's the 1-day. Good Lord. Look at that bull div on the 1-day. That is incredibly bullish, everybody. But we're still waiting to see this on the weekly. Every single time we get a weekly bull div on the RSI with the others chart, it leads to a massive, massive altcoin rally. We've seen it every single time without fail for 10 years. And I'm going to say that's probably going to be the signal that we need for your altcoins to rally. So there you go. There's your altcoin assessment. Now we're going to get into some other news. We still got some other news. We got that major announcement from Elon Musk. And we also have, let's just say, something very suspicious going on with the crypto bill. I might have to call out. I don't know if I don't want to front run if it's the Democrats or the Republicans, but let's just say there's something holding up that market clarity bill. And I don't want to give away too much. All right, let's get to the rest of the show here. All right, now back into Bitcoin. Short-term holders still in the pain zone. Structurally, these deep loss pockets usually show up closer to the late stages of correction than the early ones. And so if you look here, the last drawdown, this is the tariff tantrum is what a lot of people are calling it, the taco, the Trump taco, whatever, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, tariff uncertainty for the markets there. You can see deep losses. Again, these are short-term holders. Are they in profit or are they in loss? That marked the bottom. If you look right here, it does look like a little bit of a potential, at least a short-term market correction here might be over, folks. Extreme oversolds or extreme opportunities. I think that's just a good quote there. Now, I don't know if Trump's tacos. No, don't. Orange, it's saggy. It's like a Doritos Locos taco, but it's like soggy and it bends and like there's no crunch left. That's the Trump taco. That's what it would look like, folks. And maybe it have some like, KFC. It'd be at the taco KFC, the Taco John, where you see like KFC, Taco Bells, Long John Silver's. Yeah, it'd be a soggy Doritos taco, folks. Let's see here. I thought Clarity Act was going through this month. I'm going to expose what is holding it back. It could pass this month, but it looks like there's people trying to carry water for the banks. I'm just going to say it. They're trying to protect banks from having a stranglehold on yield. They don't want stablecoin issuers or stablecoin affiliated companies to be able to give you yield because they don't want you to be able to beat inflation. They know what the scam is. The scam is steal your wealth via inflation, the hidden tax that hurts the poor, it hurts the middle class. And if you have an exit ramp for that, that's going to hurt the big banks because they want to make all that yield. They don't want you making that yield. If you get the yield, the banks don't get the yield. So why would the banks ever have an interest in giving you the yield? Because they're all hanging out together. There's not like there's one competitor like, oh, I'm going to beat you guys. They're all hanging out together in the same islands in the same cigar smoke-filled room. 4 rate cuts this year, 1% guaranteed. I wonder what happened to that one viewer's like, I know it's going to be 50 basis points. I countered with, well, go to Polymarket. It's like 8-to-1 odds, 1 odds or something. I don't know if he did. Win Arrow 16X. Let's see. TJ will say this year. I don't know about 16X. I'd have to look at the prices there. Yes, the banks are messing everything up. Back in the day, they'd give you like a toaster, or you go back far enough, they'd give you a rifle for your child. And now they don't do anything cool. Let's see. Without fail for a decade. Will 2025 prove it wrong? Next time on Dragon Ball Z. That's 3 episodes. That is 3 episodes, folks. I don't know if you guys ever watched Dragon Ball Z. All right, this is the state of normie crypto journalism. We're using the Motley Fool. We don't typically show this publication unless we're making a fool of the Motley Fool, but they asked and answered a very important question. Will Bitcoin crash in 2026? So when you go to the Thanksgiving dinner, the upcoming Christmas dinner, or Festivus, or Ramadan, or Hanukkah, whatever it might be, you're going to have that family member has a slight knowledge of Bitcoin. This is the type of shit that they're reading. And so let's see what they say. Will Bitcoin crash in 2026? You might not like the answer. Oh, well, now I'm intrigued. All right, well, deflating sentiment. Yeah, I'd say that's about accurate. Well, that's a cool graphic. Good job, ChatGPT. Those Getty images. All right, price targets are not prophecies. Well, that's not what the open mouth YouTuber told me. I don't know. All right, now they answer the question. Will Bitcoin crash in 2026? What are the normie publications saying? What is the aunts and uncles reading? What are they seeing here? Will Bitcoin crash in 2026? Maybe, or maybe not. Meow, meow, meow. That's what they're seeing, folks. They're going to come with the ammunition this Christmas. Like, yeah, but is it going to crash this year? Like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Grandpa. So sit down and pass me the goddamn ham. All right, this is Peter Schiff. Peter Schiff got a retort with the own from CZ. Some are like, yeah, CZ fooled your ass with that gold bar and you couldn't authenticate it. But he has a counter. So let's give him his time here. What's his counter? Well, at Bitcoin conference, CZ, his little chat about the gold bar stunt with me. Well, he omitted the fact that tokenized gold is just as easy to verify as Bitcoin. The critical difference is with tokenized gold, you verify ownership of something. But with Bitcoin, you verify ownership of nothing. Burn, Bitcoiners. Take that to the bank and shove it in your safety deposit box, the prison pocket version. Well, here's the great retort to that great retort. Tokenized gold verifies a custodian, not the gold. Bitcoin verifies itself, and that's the entire point. I'll just stop right there. Tokenized gold just verifies a custodian's IOU. And it doesn't even verify if the custodian's valid or if the IOU has any kind of asset backing it. It doesn't really verify anything. And I thought that was a really good point there because Peter Schiff, I mean, you think about like, oh, yeah. Oh, is he right that tokenized gold is like tokenizing this thing? Because that's what a lot of people think. The people who don't believe in Bitcoin, they don't think Bitcoin is anything. They think inherently it is nothing. And then, you can give them the counter. Well, when's the last time you used cash? It doesn't click for them. And I don't know if it ever can click. But to me, Adam Livingston's reply did definitely click with me there. I thought it was really good. Let's talk about Polymarket. Maybe this almost makes me want to buy Polygon. Makes me want to buy the Pol token. Not POLE. That's probably some crappy altcoin. You don't want anything with that, folks. But this is just an interesting number I'm going to throw your way here. Thanks to these leaders who are joining the CFTC CEO Innovation Council. It's just going to be one of those councils of elders. I think Elrond is in there, Gimli, we got some leaders that we're going to go over, but we're going to share their expertise on tokenization, crypto, 24/7 trading, perpetuals, prediction markets, blockchains, and more flags. No. So this is who they have on there. You don't really see much stuff for altcoins. All right, that's who owns New York Stock Exchange. Tyler, where's Cameron? That's a crypto exchange. That's a crypto exchange. That's a crypto exchange. That's a betting market. Exchange. Exchange. I mean, you see exchanges, nothing but exchanges, except for this. There's Kalshi and Polymarket. I'm not going to get into Kalshi. I think there's if you got private ownership, good job. But Polymarket's now in this CEO Innovation Council. I would say Polymarket is getting much, much more popular. I open up TikTok, I see Polymarket ads. Polymarket's everywhere. But Polymarket's primarily on Polygon. Polygon's a L2 for Ethereum. Polymarket's valuation is down to $1.2 billion. I know that's still a lot, but if you look at their market cap, this was $6 billion. $6 billion in 2024. Now, this is ex-Matic. We got to go to Matic. DJ Matic. Are they going to give it to me here? Yeah. All right. Let's go max. Oh, wait. Where's my... for the new... Okay. So the valuation used to be higher. And that's the point I was trying to share here. I should have looked at this ahead of time. Visit Poly. Yeah. So it was like 10 or maybe even more. I think it might have actually touched 20 billion in 2021. This token was worth a lot more money back in the day. But either way, it's down to a $1 billion valuation. Seems low to me when you look at Polymarket's valuation. Polymarket's last raise gave it a valuation between 12 and $15 billion. Now, this is aspirational. The last raise was at 8 to 9 pre-money. Valuation at 8 billion post-money because they got 2 billion. So their company's worth 8 billion. Someone gave 2 billion into the corporate treasury. So post-money valuation, 10 billion. Estimated current valuation, 12 to 15 billion. Polygon's entire market cap, 1.2 billion. Now, this isn't a perfect analogy, but this is like an ETH L2 being worth 10 times as much as Ethereum. Now, I know it's not the same, but I think it's a similar situation here. So is Polygon, let me ask you guys, yes or no? Yes or no? Is Polygon undervalued? Is Pol undervalued? Type in yes, type in no. I'm going to be looking at the comments here, folks. I'm interested in what you guys are interesting. Math not mathin'. Yeah, the math is not mathin' for this, folks. You can use fiat USD on Polymarket. Fair. No, it is not overvalued. Yes, it is. Or I said under. It is undervalued. It is undervalued. It is. It isn't. It is very undervalued. Druth. Wow, he's saying it's not undervalued. Are you saying? I guess Druth is saying it's going lower. Polymarket, the only thing being used on Pol. So is that why it's only worth 10%? Polygon is dead. Polymarket has gotten me to use. The last time I used Polygon was Polymarket. I did a bet. I don't even remember what the bet was, but it got me to use it. In fact, I need to dust that off. It's probably, I use a VPN. Was some people suggested I travel across the border and I make sure to follow all local laws and regulations and rules there, folks. I did not use a VPN. Pol is not undervalued. It can be replicated on any chain. It doesn't need Pol. That is a good point, but it seems like they are choosing Pol. And it does look like, all right, so you do have Vitalik Buterin as a seed investor on Polymarket. So he probably won't care if it, goes to ARB, goes to OP. I wanted to go to Ape Chain. Maybe it goes to ETH, I don't know. Some to think about there, though, folks. I just started thinking about that. And when I saw, was it this post right here, Polymarket, I was like, well, what's the altcoin alpha? And I was like, well, really, it's only Polygon. And is there alpha there? I don't know, folks. Now, it did say big news from Elon Musk. The bio of X Money. This is so dumb until you see the reply. This alone is so stupid. The bio of X Money says launching in 2025. So technically only 3 weeks left. Now, clearly, this is probably something that they put in July or, join January 2024. They probably posted this in their bio a long time ago. And so, maybe it's like an intern forgot to update it or something. But Elon Musk actually replied, It has been launched. It is working. It is there, but it's just internal. And so it looks like they're probably trying to stress test it, maybe try to, break it, see if there's any kind of bugs or anything. So X money could be coming soon. Polygon is number 8 on RWA.xyz. I don't know what's being tokenized on that chain. Probably consensus, maybe. It all depends on how current supply flows. Even with huge demand, supply is distributed constantly. The price is sideways down. See, the thing on Polygon, though, it's out. It is out. Let's see. Oh, my God. They changed the tokenomics. Oh, my God. When it used to be Matic, it was like 10.2 out of 10.5. I forget. It was 95% released. Now they've changed the tokenomics. I missed that. Oh, my God. That's all right. Short everything, folks. All right. Now I got one last question. I promise you this will be the last question. I won't spam you with questions. Type 1. I'm not going to do that. Chrono Forge, one of the top altcoin, or let's just say crypto gaming platforms, is now shutting down amid a funding turmoil. Is Web3 gaming dead? Is it dead? Yes. Is it dead? Or no, it is not dead. Is Web3 gaming dead? Now, if you ask some people that are bullish on gaming, it's never dead. Or if it's dead today, well, the bull run starts tomorrow. If you ask Elio Trades or you ask Alex Becker, well, when's gaming going to turn around? Their answer is always tomorrow. It was tomorrow in 22, in 2023, in 2024. You ask them today in 2025. They're going to say, well, tomorrow, idiot. It's just around the corner. It's always around the corner. But a lot of people are saying, I don't know, man. I think Web3 gaming might be dead. Gaming revenues are down. We have Steam coming in, shaking things up. A lot of people are just spending more time on mobile. Metaverse is shut down from Facebook. Crypto gaming, Web3 gaming, it is non-existent, what a lot of people are saying here. All right, so what do we got here? Yes, it is dead. Gaming never dead. Makes too much money. It will fly on chain. It's dead until the normies use crypto and game assets. When's that going to happen, though? That is the $1 million question. If you had asked me, today it's dead. It is dead. And I'm the one bear that's like, well, why is Rockstar and Grand Theft Auto gonna, do an NFT marketplace? They're just not gonna do an NFT marketplace. Fortnite will never have a marketplace for skins. They will never ever do that. And a lot of people disagree with me, but I just don't see that changing for the next decade. I said we got good Ondo news. Ondo boy, State Street, Galaxy, and Ondo with 24/7 sweep fun. But there's some altcoin news here. It's not just Ondo. Sweep is set to launch on Solana in early 2026. Rollouts on other networks, XLM, Stellar, ETH. Also, they're all using Chainlink CCIP. And so this is a little bit of a Chainlink news, XLM news, Ether news, and Ondo news. And so now they're just going to have, this is a money, they're using PayPal, PYUSD. I read the article. I didn't highlight everything. It's a little bit boring, but I would say this is very, very good for Ondo. I haven't sold on my Ondo. A lot of people ask about the Ondo. I talk about this a lot. I've sold half my Ondo. I'm still holding half because I'm just very bullish on DeFi in 2026, and I'm just a little bit hedged. I have some on Aave, I have some Ondo, I have some Chainlink, I have some Cardano DeFi. I am positioned for DeFi, but not too bad. I'm still heavy Bitcoin and Solana, the usual suspects there. Now let's get into what the hell's happening with the Stable Act, the Clarity Act here. Are we going to get crypto legislation? We're hearing reports of this month. We're hearing, maybe Q1 2026, maybe after holiday recess. Eleanor Terrett says she has the scoop. All right. She's at Baskin Robbins. She's got all 31 flavors here. Democrats negotiating the crypto market structure bill say they've accepted significant portions of the Republicans' version. But the GOP's December 4th key principles that the Democrats are seeking. They have a counteroffer. They wrote some down on a piece of paper. They flipped it upside down. They slid it across the table. Okay. It was Barron Trump on the other side. He looked at it and he said, but what's the ticker? No. Okay. So they have an offer. They're a 3-page counteroffer. She got the scoop on this, lays out their asks on token classification, illicit finance. We know what this is, and ethics. This is all going to be related to Elizabeth Warren's attack on the Trump family. I don't want to say it, criticisms of the Trump family and their ties, and they don't want any politicians to be able to even own Bitcoin. Can you have a gold ring? Yes, you can have a gold ring. Can you have digital gold in a ledger or Arculus? No, you cannot. So, that's obviously a non-starter, I think, for most intelligent people. And they also have a counteroffer for the Genius X stablecoin yield restrictions. Now, reading this, it's like, well, they have a problem with stablecoin yield restrictions. That's kind of how I read it. So, I did an analysis. What is the breakdown here? Looked into it, and they propose reinforcing the original ban on interest or yield payments on stablecoin to protect the banking stability, the banking system stability. And so and this is kind of what we covered 2 weeks ago, their stated reason is if we allow stablecoins to give yield, if you're allowed to get yield, this is going to harm regional banks. This is going to harm the equivalent of mom and pop stores in the banking sector. This is going to be the credit unions. This is going to be the smaller branches. But we all know that is not who's trying to stop this. It is the large banks that want to stop this. The credit unions aren't lobbying Mitch McConnell. The credit unions aren't lobbying Elizabeth Warren. They're not lobbying Chuck Schumer. They're not the ones with the war chest to finance this. This is the JP Morgan Chases. This is the Bank of America's. This is the Citibanks. They don't want you to be able to get yield. And it does look like they're using Elizabeth Warren as a spearhead to prevent yourself from getting yield. And I think there is a better way. So Eleanor Terrett with the scoop here. Let's see. Dave W. I don't know if we get W's in the chat here, but he is saying, I've done a lot of spacing with this guy. This guy is actually pretty smart. He is really smart. It seems to me that it's dead on arrival. The language around exempting sales kills all token issuance, decentralization. He's saying there's no chance that they're going to accept more restrictions on the Trump family trading or use of crypto than on stocks. So dead in the water, not probably going to get these classifications. There you go. Until the Democrats maybe come around, until Elizabeth Warren changes her tune on, I'm going to say, protecting the big banks. Until she changes her tune on that, it is going to be difficult to get this passed. We just might have to wait a while, folks. So if you're in Massachusetts, let her know how you feel. Let's share her number. I'm not going to do that. Let's see. Everybody wants a cut before it gets approved. Facts. These facts. Hit the like button if you think we're spitting the facts here. It's what Warren was trying to do, was the bank's bidding. They call her the banking broad for a reason. We've done deep dives into her and who's funding. Remember, we did the whole deep dive on who funded the report that she cited. So we go deep down the rabbit trails here, and so go. Make sure you tune in every day. If you're not watching Everyday Live, you're missing the alpha. You're missing the breakdowns, and we give you every single day an analysis that you're not going to get anywhere else. I do like the other crypto YouTubers, but let's just say it. A lot of the other lives, they suck and they suck ass, and these people aren't prepared when it comes to preparing data for you folks to consume. But Wolf of Wall Street, I love his assessment here. Most people think exceptional investing means catching the bottoms, timing tops, or having Buffett-level genius. He just does the number. What if you buy Bitcoin at euphoric peaks? So you buy a $19,000 Bitcoin in 2017. You buy the 64K top, 69K top, 48, 49, 73. If you did all of that, mostly because you got in here, you still have an average price of $53,000. Value today would be $125,000. If you didn't sell, a literal peak buyer would double their money simply by staying in the game. He doesn't have 126 though. So I'm gonna call shenanigans on you. Scott Melker is a very smart guy. I do like Scott. I've done a show. He's a cool dude. But yeah, he did leave out 126. I'm just now realizing that. But even if you do take that out, even if you threw that in, yeah, it's not going to change your 92, 60. Yes, it's not going to drastically alter a 53K average entry there. So maybe something to think about. But it was the last last section I wanted to share here. You don't need binary. You just need to not quit. Be exceptional, not the 1 in a trillion, or not the 1 in a million exceptional like Warren Buffett or a Charlie Munger, but be exceptional in the way that actually matters. You be exceptional by being consistent, patient, and still standing as the trend plays out. You just need to not quit. I think Wall Street, I think they are trying to shake you out of your Bitcoin. They do seem like they're manipulating prices. We do see a lot of chicanery with the price action in the mornings, and we see a lot of rumors that, oh yeah, during this whole washout from 126, they're buying more, they're accumulating more, and they're laughing at you as you're selling your Bitcoin. Why? They saw the short-term holders at a loss. Where's that chart at? Banks aren't buying this. Banks are buying this. State Street is buying this. BlackRock insiders are buying this. Oil money is buying in the 80s. Just stay patient, stay in tune, stay plugged in, and stay smashing that like button, folks. That's all I got for today. Ran a little early. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to work on a video a little bit later on, though. Yeah, I do got something. Should I front run it? I'll front run it a little bit here. Front run it a little bit. I'm going to do a little more research into the ISM. We kind of looked at that somewhat in the beginning here, but the ISM is the business cycle. I haven't done enough research into the ISM because we get different business cycle indicators, but there is one that BlackRock uses. There is one that you see on Bloomberg terminals, and that is the ISM index. So when a hedge fund manager is submitting a report to his supervisor, they're looking at ISM. They're not looking at tech devs, secret algorithmic, altcoin signal that you don't know what the F means. They're not looking at Ben Cowan's social credit, tweet mention, sentiment score. They're looking at the ISM data. So we're going to pour over the ISM data, and probably similar to what we did with the Fed balance sheet and what happened with the others. Maybe I could do some with ISM, and maybe I'll do Ethereum dominance or something. I'll look at the charts and see what's really compelling here. See what has the most correlation. I don't want to give you what looks the best, like, oh, we're going to 10x. I want to give you what is the most accurate. So I'm going to work on that. I got a lot of research to do, folks. Hit that like button on the way out. I do appreciate. And let me know down in the comments if you like the DZ only stream. If you stuck around this long, you're one of the real ones. You're one of the awesome ones. And I am going to do a thing. I want to make sure. I always miss my live content thing. But all right, folks, that's all we got. Hit the like button on the way out. I'll see you guys.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.